Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. We are Chase and Melia, and we are super excited about today's video. It is highly requested in the comments by all of you. So today we are finally reacting to NCT 127 Killing Voice. Their Killing Voices, just the videos are amazing because it gives you a chance to like, in a snapshot, see everybody's vocals and like what they do. It's also kind of hard because it's like really fast live singing, all your vocals, so super excited.
So we usually break Killing Voices up into 2 parts, so stick around for part 2, but we're super excited to get started.
Yep.
Yo, let me introduce you to some new things. New things, new things. Bass kick swinging like a Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee. Shimmy, 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 booty boom there. Booty boom there. 무대 위로 땡땡. 나라 부르질러줘, Bruce Lee. 나라 달려 하루 종일 Bruce Lee. It coming up, 지금 여기로. Baby 느낌은 이에 멋진 머리론 Fighting for that 아무 생각 말고 너의 이야기대로 걸어와 어두운 어제가 오늘을 삼켜버리기 전에 내 목소린 덮어줘야 해 소리치면 돼 내겐 너무 무서워 Baby we go wild Ay, what the seven squad Ay, 넌 앞으로 질러봐 Say what? 좌우로 내질러봐 Let's go. Got that drip, 흘러넘쳐 bust. 잃어버린 것 어디서든 make it pop and keep on moving like you want. 내 하품 막을 때 Samuel Jackson 돼 what's up? Baby going on, baby you just gotta watch. 그들은 난 영화같이 걸음걸이마저 마셔라치. Looking at everybody looking at me. 감사점 없이 shit. 들어 하나씩. Bruce Wayne, jumping up your ruthless, dropping the bomb on my enemies. And I'm gonna kick like Bruce Lee.
네, 여러분 저희의 자기소개 잘 들으셨나요? 자, 그럼 지금부터 NCT 리셀의 역사를 한 곡 한 곡 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
Getting lifted. That's right, baby.
Okay, awesome. Super cool.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was wild. I was like, when is that song gonna end?
It's going on my workout playlist. I'm excited.
For sure. That's such a jam. Okay, the first thing I noticed, and this is gonna be my comparison to other Killing Voices and other like K-pop groups that we've reacted to. I feel like this is the first time that like so far all of the singers that I've heard sing, like maybe the 5 of them, I feel like I've heard 5 people sing. They all have like the same, like caliber's the wrong word. They all have like the same kind of like style of voice where I would say not one of them stood out. They all were kind of like the same like level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like they were all incredible. Like I feel like my main thing is normally when you hear these groups that have so many different voices, you hear such drastic differences from person to person.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that first example, like that first song, not that I'm saying they all sound exactly the same, they just all sounded like they blend really well to each other. They all have very similar timbres of voice, and they all have really nice, like, full quality voices.
Nobody's voice jumped out.
Nobody's voice jumped out, but like in a positive way. Like a lot of times we're kind of highlighting somebody because their voice really stands out to us in a positive way. But I think that in this case, I'm kind of excited because it feels like maybe there's not like a vocalist. Like I feel like in BTS and in 17, there's like, it's not like a vocalist, but they're definitely like leaders of the pack.
There's definitely one that's, I guess what I mean? I guess, and they have like specific singers who are like, these are the main singers.
Yeah, these are the main singers.
Sure.
For me, what I'm hearing so far, it sounds like there might not be that. It sounds like there might be like singers. So I would say that.
We'll find out.
Absolutely.
I think obviously everyone just got roles, and it's been really cool to see like these guys are singing the melody over here, and these guys are singing like a percussive thing, and like
totally.
I think it's really neat. It was super cool. So we'll see, but But yeah, I think I know exactly what you mean. Where nobody really jumped out as being wildly different.
Right.
And I think that's probably good as a group.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to go back just because these killing voices get so long if we do. And I'm sure we're going to hear it again. But there's some really beautiful qualities to their voices that I'm not hearing a ton in K-pop. But I would say the two things that I noticed for sure, the first one I do notice a lot, which is like really forward nasal resonance.
Yeah.
And I was going to point out like to the point that if you heard them by themselves, it would probably sound too nasal. That's like one of the big things that we've talked about on this channel is like nasal resonance and how sometimes you might think it sounds like too much, but in the setting of like actual music with instrumentation and lots of other people, it's what you need. It's what that song requires.
It really just sounds full.
Exactly. And so I think I'm hearing that, which is great. And we hear it a lot in this style. But I think the other thing I'm hearing is there's some like full voice vibrato resonance too. Like I feel like specifically one of the singers, so I'm hoping I hear it again, but like kind of opened up a little bit more and it had a little bit more of a classical is the wrong word, but like a little bit more of a traditional sound that I thought was really nice.
Nice.
So let's keep
Fire truck 어딜 봐 Mr. Farmer on the phone 부르지펴봐 열기를 식혀줄게요 불만이 가득 찬 곳도 화끈하게요 저 siren 소리에 내게는 내게 보 나서 뺀 조금 곤란 Hey 시큰한 분위기는 No Hey 흔들리는 내 따고진 backseat 세운 뒤 빗짐없이 we get me Hands up if you're feeling the vibe now Hey yeah 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 One step two steps 오늘 밤 너와 나 모두 다 빠져들지 언제든 달려가 소방차 You can come back Nowhere down Pick it up 모두 느끼는 대로 너 흔들어 뜨거워지는 순간 크게 소리쳐 Fire truck
Fire truck.
Okay. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but this is exactly my jam. I grew up listening to like Tech Nine and kind of like heavier rap with like more
like
involved kind of rocky stuff.
Yeah.
And I am loving this.
A huge fan.
Just personally. You know, it's kind of tough because there's not a lot of like when you have big long phrases of singing, we can really hear and kind of dissect what's going on. What's happening right now is I'm just really enjoying this music and I can't wait to add it to my workout playlist.
Totally.
And I'm super excited.
I will say though, along the lines of like vocally, yes, it is easier for us to kind of dissect what's going on with long phrases. And you also prefer that too when teaching students, like to have that because you can really learn something about people's voices. But I will say that like faster, kind of more upbeat, choppy is the wrong word, but like songs like this in nature are difficult to sing. So I would say it's very impressive too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It takes a lot of skill.
Yeah. When you have to move really fast, you have to really be intentional and you have to know the song super duper well because there's not a lot of time to think. So you just have to be in it. You have to be listening. And, you know, they might run with what's called a click, which is like a metronome going in your head, going in their in-ears. But this kind of quick stuff is actually pretty hard. Usually pretty difficult for a lot of vocalists.
Absolutely.
Fire truck 무거워진 세상을 다 바꿔 자유로운 우리를 봐 자유로워 그 안에 웃음 너만 오락돼 내 마음을 가져가는 자 그게 너인데 공감이 난 필요해 미치도록 보내 네가 필요해 서로를 온전히 느낄 수 있게 해줄 그게 필요해 Oh baby it's you 이제 시작이야 무한의 나동의 처음과 서의 끝쪽부터 빛이 나무 속 퍼질수록 강해져가 눈을 떠봐 점점 커져가 나의 노래가 밤이 뜨겁고 터질 듯한 세계 들리니 우리는 하나가 돼 Baby I don't want nobody but you
That's hard because they're like hanging out low and then they go da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's nice though.
I think you kind of were spot on in the beginning though that it's they do have really good voices separately, but when they sing together it's wild.
Yeah.
And it's I think they blend well together.
Absolutely.
And their sound together is really good. And that's something that's it can be really tough because you have to really listen to each other in order to sound like one voice.
I think also too, like what we understand, which is very little about K-pop and how these groups are formed, is they're usually like handpicked for a purpose, right? Like that's what I think I understood. So from what we understand, K-pop groups are formed very intentionally with a purpose in mind. And these are people are like handpicked to form a group with that intention. And I think that this reminds me a lot of like choral singing, in the sense that like it doesn't mean you're good or bad if you're not chosen for a group like this. It just means you don't fit at that time with those people and that purpose. Or like sometimes we would do things where you literally like put people next to each other based on how their voices sound together, and they sound different if they stand on the left or they stand on the right. And that is like, that's kind of a highly like specified thing. But I think that this is a similar concept in that like not only are they probably working hard to blend with one another, but they also kind of sound like they have similar voices.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the point of how they wanted this sound to be for this for their group.
It's pretty evident how good they are at singing together.
Oh, totally.
우리는 하나가 돼. Baby, I don't want nobody but you. 끝이 어디인지, 어디까지 갈 수 있는지. 이제 시작해줘서 해보배. 시끄러움질지는 모습. It's over.
That was wild.
Really good.
I
know.
That was like he had to really flip through
all the way.
Through his range. That was wild.
Super cool.
이 바쁜 세상 속에 갇혀 헤매고 싶지는 않아. 단 한 번 내볼 곳으로 내 전부를 태워. I'm the biggest hit. I'm the biggest hit.
Sorry, he had a fantastic voice too.
Yeah.
And that was, I think he was the example of like having just a really full voice.
Yeah.
Like not like there's no, I don't feel like he's trying to change anything for the genre. I think he just has a really nice resonant voice.
Yeah, and I think that especially when people are trying to belt, and this is just in my experience, and this could be just a guy thing, but like just really not opening too much and just kind of letting it go where it needs to go is such a difficult thing, but it's the only way.
It kind of reminds me of like older rock. I feel like older rock, like in the 80s and 90s,
like Journey and
they were kind of
Kansas.
like allowed to have their full voice, and they didn't have to like bring it down to fit the genre.
Or cut the edge off.
Yeah, or cut the edge off. That's exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think has been kind of pleasantly surprising, is it sounds like, reminds me of that.
Guy gets after it.
So
Love
nice.
Hard rock ska, headshot pop, no talk. 어디 가나 속이는 삶, 죽은 time 시간을 잡게 박수. Ay, 넌내 덕에 분명히 정신을 차려내. 토끼는 건 싫어서 위신 앞에서 말해. 어린이 너 앞에서 왕국빛게 keep watching 면 나보기를 바래. Hate it, hate it, talk talk. 뭘 먹어도 너는 건서와. 저 돼지가 비스를 쏘는 걸 경찰 독해서 버니 난 받아봐. Cherry bomb bingo, come on.
네, 저 여러분 역사 잘 보셨나요? 네, 사실 저희 127이 아주 딩고의 진심인 그룹이거든요. 그래서 지금부터는 저희 NCT 127 자체 투표를 통과해서 완성된 저희 127만의 사랑하는 수록곡 들려드리도록 하겠습니다. 마크는 오늘 기억할 건가요?
난 기억해. Stay on. 너와 나 지금 괴로. Baby touch me. 널 느낄 수 있어. 찰나 같은 순간 그 안에서도 커져가는 이 느낌은 baby 모두 전해져 너에게.
They're all in unison.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It's really good.
And sometimes though they have like 4 parts.
Yeah.
You know, they have a lot of parts going on. I don't know how many.
Right.
But it's it's pretty intricate.
That sounds like many voices, but very tight.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you can tell there's lots of them singing, but they all just blend so well.
Yeah.
We're fans of that.
We were actually talking about this the other day about how it takes actually a lot of skill to sing in unison and blend and sound like one voice, and
Absolutely.
and it's just they're killing it. It's great.
So good.
Yeah.
달려봅시다 천국 let's go 네가 원하면 another the world 그게 어디든 우린 닿을 수 있어 Now we fly to the sky 원한다면 make you high 따라와 low skirt처럼 발아오른 직진 실수해도 돼 그저 repeat 될 때까지 부딪혀봐 like this 한계는 없어 we limitless 가끔씩 막막해질 땐 별일도 아니란 듯이 네 방식대로 고이지 Keep on 아침이 떠오르듯이 길을 이어져 반드시 I believe that we believe that
Whoever did the octave too.
I know, and it's
above?
changed.
Oh, it was
so
great.
I think that it was the tan shirt gentleman at the first time, because I think he has a lower voice on the end.
But I think the guy in the leather jacket was the one who's singing the octave below.
The second time they switched,
Oh,
because I think it was those two, and then it was these two.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know who it was the second time.
Just wild assumptions over here.
Not assumptions. Watch it again. There's proof in the play the tapes,
Play
bro.
the tapes.
They're all gonna be like, she's right.
She's right. I hope so. Let me know.
They were really good though.
Yeah. Oh,
That was really cool.
I didn't even know that they switched.
See, that's how good they were.
That's how good they were.
Oh, I thought he was whistling. I legitimately thought he was whistling. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I
Now we're whistle
also was
toning.
like, whoa.
I'm like,
was that? Is
cool.
he just whistling?
Yeah.
Girl, you know that you got me. I can't even lie. 내가 제일 좋아해. You always be my favorite. 사랑해 또 사랑해. 더 지독하게 하고 싶어. 이 운명 속에 거친 눈빛 존재 전부. Girl, you're my favorite. 눈물 쏟고.
That dude is killer.
That dude is killer.
That
I
is
was about to take
absolutely
back
killer.
my first statement.
Which was?
He's kind of maybe the leader.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well,
And by leader, I just mean like he's just got some powerful vocal lines.
yeah. I think he kind of. We always make the joke like that's where I get paid, or that's
where
not
he
where I
makes
get
his
paid.
money.
It's where I make money, and I think that's where he kind of comes in and does that powerful belty thing.
Yeah.
Is a bunch, but he's singing like almost the whole time.
lot.
He does, and that's one thing I noticed with the first or second song was that he was doing like a percussive kind of not harmony, but like a background vocal. And so I think he's doing all kinds
Dang.
of things. So it's tough to say what he does, right?
No, that's true.
Because,
And
yeah, he's doing a lot.
I think ultimately all we're trying to say is that he has such a great voice, and the reason he has a good voice is because he can, one, like navigate his instrument and range very well, and two, he can also like bring he can bring his actual voice, right? Like he's bringing you can hear his voice that's not being held back. I don't know how you put it earlier, where it was like he's not like cutting off the edge or anything
Sure.
like that. I don't think he's doing anything to hold his voice back.
Yeah.
And it really, I think, lends to popular music in a beautiful and unique way.
Yeah. So a lot of people, when they sing high, they make a lot of space. You know, they try to open up and make a lot of space because they're worried it's going to sound like, nah! And that's what I think that is the difference is, you are my favorite, right? And he's going, you are my favorite. It's all
Yeah.
forward. It's all coming out the front of his mouth.
Totally.
And it's not being swallowed in the back.
Yeah.
And I think that I can't say that enough. Mostly for, everybody else, but also for myself. You know, this is something that that instinct to open up and kind of swallow the sound is something I struggle with all the time.
And I think something that you've helped me through and yourself is part of like the feeling of this concept is that the sound leaves your body, right? And that's where efficiency comes in, right? That's where we're talking about efficiency. And I think that's what we're hearing is that he isn't like swallowing his sound to where like all of the resonance is happening in his chest. It's like coming out, right? And so like his sound and his air, the resonance is all coming out of his body.
Yeah.
And so it's
And that's
just,
why we can hear it.
and that's also why I think that when we hear singers that stand out to us, a lot of times the reason they stand out is because it sounds like they could keep doing that over and over again.
All day.
Like very consistently. That's a good technique, you know? That's a really good technique.
And even though he's getting after it physically,
Yeah.
I don't think that means he's like pushing,
He's pushing,
and doing all
exactly.
these things that might wear you out quickly.
Absolutely.
Cool.
That guy,
You're my favorite.
he sings so high, like consistently. But he, I think, is the one that I really noticed that nasal resonance with, where when you hear him probably sing by himself, it sounds a little bit like forward, but it fits so nicely amongst all of the what's going on and is actually really necessary.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to have that, especially
Yes.
when you're singing those light, floaty, like
Yes.
high things. Yeah, love. You know, it's
Yeah.
really got to be. Yeah, yeah, love.
Yeah.
You know, you got to really get after it and have that nasal resonance. Otherwise, it sounds like this. Your love, right? It loses a
got a-
lot of its
yeah.
fullness.
And I think it has like a breathiness that comes over it.
Yeah.
That it just takes away the ping. We talk about the ping a lot on our channel. And that ping is just what makes it sound so nice and good. Yeah,
You need it.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
너를 향해 키운 우산이 이렇게 때마침 참 작아서 다행이야 이런 건 예상하지 못한 상황이야 어깨가 닿은 이 순간 어딜 또 갈 때 찾아 말하면서도 내 걸음은 자꾸만 하염없이 늘어져 I can't stop this feeling
Sorry, I'm making faces. The first face was hearing like the contrast between their two voices at the beginning, because he is like a super full, like, it's still forward, but it's just more open sound compared to the guy with the pink hair. Is like so
It's a lot.
so nasal,
Yeah.
and like the best way. Like
Yeah.
both of them are incredibly appropriate for this genre and this
style.
song.
Yeah.
And I love it so much, and it sounds like just really great. And then the other thing was like this song has some crazy surprise notes that I wasn't expecting.
What do you mean surprise notes?
Like the harmony and the tonality is kind of shifting, and it's just surprising me every time.
Sure.
So I'm making lots of faces.
The music
is
wild.
It's wild.
It's wild.
It's not what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's really interesting.
Super cool.
I can't stop this feeling 너의 숨소리도 들려 이렇게 가까우니까 이대로 투명해진 채 시간이 멈췄으면 해 비는 질색인데 오늘 좀 좋아지려 해 아니 아직 끝일 생각은 말고 왼쪽 어깨 흠뻑 적셔놔도 돼이 속에 love song yeah 둘만의 성을 만들어 이렇게 love this rain 떨어지는 빛 속에 all day
목마르지 않나요, 여러분? 목마른데?
목이 마르네.
재현아, 뭐 먹고 싶어?
저는 말이죠. Lemonade,
뭐라고?
lemonade.
뭐라고? 누가 우릴 건드려요?
때로 건드렸어 you 또 뒤로 숨어서는 type them 너무 쉽게 보였고
he has that lower in his voice, and that is just so unique.
Yeah.
Like he brings that down. It almost sounds like an instrument, like
Yeah.
a MIDI instrument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the way he approaches his vocal, like his instrument, and is just like extremely like nasal. But the fact that he can bring that down in the lower part of his register is so impressive to me.
Yeah. I think it's hard. I think in the last song it sounded a lot more held, but when I say that, I don't mean it as a bad thing. I mean it as he's using his voice like an instrument,
Like an
where he wants to get a specific sound, and he knows how to make that specific sound. And I think that, you know, when we say somebody's held or somebody this, you know, sometimes it can be a thing where we think that you don't need that.
Yeah.
But I also think that ultimately our voices are instruments, and
Yeah.
if you can get a desired like effect by doing certain things,
Absolutely.
then go for it. And that's what you're going for, then go for it.
Yeah.
And I just think that he's kind of found his vein, especially in context with the group.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know, I just think it's a really interesting way to use your voice to stay in and kind of be a different color within everything else that's going on.
That's exactly what I would say too.
Yeah.
It's like he stands out in a way, but also fits within the band. Like
Absolutely.
it's just like both are existing.
Yeah.
Super cool.
그만 떠들어댈 time man
Yeah, 눈에 real name 그처럼 그네 try barricade haters come 왜 나를 찾아보다 밤새 I got you 인정해서는 너만 관심 서둘러 숨겨봐도 단언할 거 proof 거진 변명 따윈 던져 to the roof I'm sipping all day 너는 다 투명해 그저 내 눈에 Lemonade Tastes like lemonade winter on an hurricane 안 들려 네 목소리는 noise It tastes like lemonade 짜릿하지 everyday 삼켜버려 got me feeling good Tastes like lemonade winter on a hurricane 안 들려 이 목소리는 noise You know Tastes like lemonade 짜릿하지 everyday 삼켜버려 got me feeling good 한 달이 나겠지 내 땀을 내 my juice 약한 너와 다리 굽고 나 my crew I'm sipping all day 짜릿한 배가 돼 It's like a flavor like lemonade
Yo, what kind of song is this?
여러분 되게 오랜만에 듣는 노래죠. Baby don't like it. Let's go. Baby, is it me or are you doing something to me? 웃을 때는 shining, 너의 속은 왠지 lying. 위험하게 너 beautiful. 서서 위에 너 my dilemma. 습관처럼 이미 나는 없는 미소 찾아야. 무서운 건 바로 너의 말투에 소름 끼치는 건 네가 웃을 때야. 주제와 주체가 전부 너야. Oh no, 그런다 문제는 그렇게 지워. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it too.
I'm so sorry. That's an example of somebody like changing their voice very obviously, like to like put like an effect and a sound on it that I think is just so like appropriate to like obviously it's for the song and the style of it, but I also think that technically, which is what usually we're concerned about, it wasn't compromising. Right?
Yeah.
Like it didn't compromise his technique.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about that too. We made a video a while back about the indie girl singing and how there are things that you can accomplish in a healthy way, in a technical way, or things you can do to accomplish like an effect on your voice in a healthy way, in a technical way that don't compromise your like
vocal health.
Your health. Right? Because a lot of times people make cool sounds and they do cool, weird things that I think in the long run hurt them.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good example to me, for me, of something I think that I don't think that's hurting him.
Yeah, I don't
think
it.
yeah.
But he is like he's changing how he says things.
Absolutely, it's vowels.
It's vowels. It's inflection.
Yes.
It's like he's changing kind of the quality of his voice, but it doesn't sound like, you know, our whole thing is that, is it sustainable? Like
Right.
you're going to go on tour, or let's say
Right.
you're writing a song, that's cool. But if, let's say that song takes off and then you got to sing that song, you know, 10 times, 20 times
In a week, exactly.
You know, it's going to get rough.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that's how there's a lot of people who, I don't want to say wreck their voices, but
No,
definitely
but-
have like some vocal health issues, vocal surgery, need to go on vocal rest
Maybe
for
shorten
years.
their careers.
Shorten their careers, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I just thought that was really cool. And a cool lesson of how important vowels are and what vowels can do.
And how much they can change
How much they can
things.
change things.
내가 던질 테니까 받아줘 basically fall 하는 거야 going so hard better 채워도 밤새 놀아보는 거야 피거는 저 접어도 I love it love it love it love it 줘 나를 보여줬으니 너도 보여줘 나를 안아줬으면 해요 너 때문에 걸린 내 정결피증은 어떡해 도대체 나도 내가 왜 이러는지 나도 왜 나쁜 짓 하고 싶은지 My baby don't like it when you come around 당연히 너같이 위험한 여자를 겁내는 게 당연할지도 몰라 없으면 너에게 더 빠져들어갈지도 몰라
That line gives me like 90s R&B vibes.
I know.
But in a totally new way.
Absolutely.
Like somebody turned it on their head. It's really good.
I also think this is like the boy band in a totally new way.
Yeah.
Because they don't just sound like anybody's just singing the melody and like just sing along.
Yeah.
It's like really nice to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't know. The spectrum of the kind of music that they're making is totally wild.
Wide.
Yeah,
yes,
very wide.
In a good way.
Oh my gosh, so we can talk about this stuff all day, but we have to kind of stop it there. There's going to be a part 2, so hit the notification bell if you want to be notified for when that comes out.
Yes.
We really hope you enjoyed this video. We are really liking that. I cannot wait to continue and just, continue deep diving into NCT 127. We think it might be 127 or 127. We've been saying 127, but it's 127, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon.